Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamie. In today's video, we're doing a full face using Colourpop. I recently hauled a few Colourpop products that I got, including the new Going Coconuts eyeshadow palette and the Pretty Fresh tinted moisturizer, along with some other products. So I'm gonna hang out and test them on camera. So if you wanna get ready with me using a almost full face of Colourpop cosmetics, let's just jump right into the video. So I didn't pick up a primer, but I actually picked up something from Fourth Ray Beauty. And I got their papaya face milk, so I'm going to use this almost as a primer. I am so excited. Colourpop is one of my favorite affordable brands, and I've done quite a few videos about their products. So the directions said to put 1 or 2 drops in your hand and then warm it up and then apply it. So there's 1 drop. That was a big drop. We'll just do 2 drops because that first drop was quite large. This smells so good. So I'm just applying that everywhere. I didn't end up picking up the Pretty Fresh primer or setting spray because I kind of have a primer and setting sprays that I'm trying to go through, so it wasn't really necessary for my collection. But I was interested in trying some of their skincare. And this actually does feel pretty tacky, so I'm hoping it will help with our next step, which is going to be the moisturizer. I got mine in the shade Fair 1N, which I believe is the lightest color. They only really had neutral or warm undertones, and I'm a cool undertone, so I found shade matching to be particularly difficult. But I like the fact this comes with a pump. So I'm going to start out with 1 pump, and I can always add more as needed, and I'm just hoping this will somewhat match me. But because it's a tinted moisturizer, I'm not expecting like great coverage, and I feel like you can get away with a shade that isn't 100% your match in this kind of case, because it's not like it is a full coverage foundation which has like that discernible line. But so far so good. It actually looks pretty good. I like the fact that it's evening out my redness. Redness is probably my biggest skin issue, and I have freckles, so I like for them to show through on occasion. Let me actually zoom you guys in so you can see the foundation up close. So I brought you in a little bit closer as I'm blending this out so you can hopefully see how it looks. My freckles and some of my like birthmarks and like some like acne scars are still visible, but that doesn't really bother me as much. I am going to go in with a second layer just to see how buildable this is. But the color is actually a pretty solid shade match. I tend to err on the lighter side of foundation because I can always apply a ton of bronzer, whereas if it's too dark, I might be out of luck. So I'm going to go in with another pump. But I could definitely see myself using this for like work, which is when I tend to go a bit more natural with my makeup. And I'm just using a Real Technique sponge to buff this in. I'll definitely continue using these products off my channel and just like in real life. And I'll probably use a brush to blend this out because I'd love to see how it works, because I want to know how much product this sponge is absorbing. So I'm just going to build it up a little bit on my cheeks and my nose. It is building up, but it's still light coverage, which for a tinted moisturizer, I didn't really have crazy coverage expectations. It does look good on my skin, and it is not like interfering with that face milk we put underneath. I can't tell if it's the moisturizer or the primer we put underneath. My skin looks really radiant and glowy. So I'm definitely happy about that. So next I'm going to go in with concealer, and for concealer I have the Colourpop No Filter Concealer, and mine is in the shade Fair 08, and I'm just going to use a little bit of that to highlight. I didn't end up picking up the Pretty Fresh concealer. Because I have quite a few concealers in my collection I'm working on, but it's something I'd like to try eventually when I place another Colourpop order. So I'm going to do my brows off camera because that is one of the 2 non-Colourpop products that I have. And then we'll come back and do the eyes. So I will be back in a minute. So now that our brows are on, we can start with the eyes. So I do have the Going Coconuts palette, which it comes with a mirror. And these are what the shades look like. It's like a really basic neutral palette. I actually used this over the weekend. I was with my friends. We went to brunch and I was like, I need a really simple look. And it performed just like my other Colourpop palettes do. I have one of their Jelly Much eyeshadows. This is in the shade Doves and Roses. I don't really know if this is going to go with the look that I'm intending on doing today. I swear this packaging is the hardest part about this shadow. That's what it looks like. It's like a pink with a gold flip. Haven't really decided if I'm going to use that. I also have the pigment from Kathleen Lights in the Zodiac collection. I have the scales, And then I brought out, well, I took out my Too Faced products, but I added a few single shadows with it as well. But I think I'm going to do Going Coconuts, and maybe we'll put a Jelly Much on the lower lash line and be a bit adventurous today. So far this palette is really nice. There are 3 shimmers right down the middle and 6 mattes. This matte up here called Get Cracking and this matte over here called Shredded both have shimmer in them. This one's definitely more prominent than this one. It's nice. I've talked about I don't really prefer shimmer in my mattes, but I will deal with it. And this palette retailed for $12. So I think I'm going to start with this shade Coolata right here in my crease. It's just a really pretty neutral brown. I wouldn't say this palette is necessarily like warm toned or cool toned. I think it's like truly neutral. And I have quite a few other Colourpop products, like eye products. I have about, I want to say like 40 or 50 other single shadows just because the BYOP palettes or the BYOP sales are too good to pass up. And then I have the California Love palette, the Misunderstood Disney Villain palette, which is in my Shop My Stash. And I did a Get Ready With Me using that if you want to see that on my channel. And then I have Dream Street, which is one of my favorite palettes of all time. So once again, I'm just blending this color into the crease. We'll probably do something super neutral on the eyes for today. Mostly because it is a neutral palette. But if you're someone that like me, like neutrals are staples in my collection. So if I was going away for a weekend, this would be the palette that I would bring because you can pretty much get like my everyday look out of it. I think we're going to warm up this look a little bit and go with the shade Shell Yeah into the crease as well. Colourpop, whoever names the stuff in Colourpop's branding does such a good job. The Shell Phone was the Super Shock Trio. You have just such nice products. So for the shimmer, I'm going to go with this middle shade called Cocoa Crush, and I think I'm going to put it on a brush today. So I'm going to go with this Crown Cosmetics lip brush and use it to stamp that color on. And this shimmer is really pretty. I wore it the other day, and it's just really reflective. And it almost gives your lid that like wet look. Overall, I think with the majority of my Colourpop shadows, I've never really had an issue per se with them. Like they all perform really well. And it's a great like budget eyeshadow. I think if you're someone that even loves high-end eyeshadows, it's not like you're sacrificing quality when you go to Colourpop. And $12 for like a 9-pan palette. It's in a hard plastic case. It comes with a mirror. Pretty much unbeatable. I did post a video on my channel about my best and worst Colourpop products in my opinion, so I'll have that linked up above or down below if you want to see my opinions on other products. I've tried a whole bunch of stuff like from the brand, but of course, no, not every single product is going to work. So I do have some products that I personally don't like, but obviously everyone's different, and I just love to try stuff from the brand, even though they are affordable. But I have to say, in the haul, I picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 products, 7 products, and it was like $70. So, I mean, it's not expensive, but that was still like a pretty penny. And now that's there, I'm gonna go in with the deep brown, which is called Nutty, and just use that to stamp that onto the outer corner and give us some depth. And I think I'm gonna use one of the Anastasia brushes that comes with the palette to put that on and blend that out. But I think my favorite thing about Colourpop this year is that they're available Ulta. I am much more of an in-store shopper than an online shopper. I think shopping in-store also keeps me accountable with how much I spend because I like can physically see it in my hands, where sometimes I'm just like add to cart, add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. So I like that. And also, especially when it comes to like the complexion products like the concealer, I like being able to buy that in store because I was able to pick out my perfect shade, where we all know shade matching online can be a bit more difficult. For reference, I wore this shade in the shade 1N, but like popular foundations, I am Too Faced Born This Way. I believe I'm Swan. I am NARS Mont Blanc. I am Laura Mercier Cameo. If that helps, if you're looking for products and you're a similar skin tone. I find that's like the thing that I use most, is that I find other influencers that have a similar skin tone to me and I see what they use, especially if the product isn't available in stores, so I can better narrow down where I'm at. But I have really fair skin and pink undertones. So that's gonna be it for the top lash line. I think I'm gonna go in with the shade Palm Reader and put it on the inner corner. I'm gonna go back with that same brush we used to apply the shade Cocoa Rush everywhere. All right, I think we're gonna do it. I think we're gonna be adventurous and use the Jelly Mutt shadow under the lower lash line. And I am mildly terrified, to be honest. So I think I'm going to use that same Anastasia brush we just used and smoke this out underneath. Please put your thoughts and prayers into this video because I am actually really scared this is going to ruin the entire look. So I'm picking it up on like the flat side of the Anastasia brush. I'm trying to use the product off the lid, but maybe I'll dunk in and see if that works. Yeah, it's like not picking up as well as I'd like. We got some product, so let's see how this works. Ooh, it's so weird. It's like cold, which I guess would be expected, but it's just, sometimes using a product that's not a powder can be just a bit of a shock to the system. So then I'm going to flip the brush over and just blend that out. It is really pretty. It's just like a different texture. So I'm going to go on the other eye and do the same thing as well. It looks pretty. It's not as duochrome on the eyes as it is in the pan. I'm definitely going to have to play around with it more inside because I don't think this brush might have been the best choice. So I have to use different brushes and I want to use it all over the lid and give it like a wear test to see how long this kind of shadow product works. But I'm just glad I gave it a shot because I've been really eyeing these Jelly Mutches for a while and wondering how they worked. And I think to finish off the look, I'm going to go with an eyeliner. I have quite a few of the Colourpop eyeliners. They're actually one of my favorite formulas. So I have a nude, I have a black as well, and I have a bronze, and then I have a purple, a green, and a yellow. And I think I'm going to go in with the bronze because it will tie together the lower or the upper lash line. And the bronze color is in the shade Show Me, and okay, let's tuck that back in there. I've used this color to death. This is in their old packaging. Their newer packaging has like the color of the eyeliner on the outer case, and I think it's supposed to be reformulated so things like that don't happen. But I really love the Colourpop cream gel liners. So I'm just going to put this on my lower lash line. I haven't tried the BFF liquid liner. I almost purchased the brown one, but I believe they're available in stores at Ulta. So once again, it's something I'd rather purchase in store. But these are really long wearing, and I like the fact they come in like a fun variety of colors. So now that that's on the lower lash line, our eye look is complete. I'm going to throw on mascara. I did have the Colourpop BFF mascara at one point. It's not a favorite of mine, and when I use it up, I throw it out. So I'm going to go in with an off-brand mascara, and then we'll come in and finish up the face. So I zoomed you out a little bit so we can finish up the face. So we're going to start with bronzer, and I do have one of the Colourpop single bronzers. This one is in the shade Spectacle. So I'm going to go in with a bronzing brush and just pop that onto my cheeks. It is a little cool tone, but it definitely bronzes, but it's more of like a contour shade on me. So I'm just putting this everywhere. I'm going to go very non-specific with this bronzer because I don't want it to be a contour, and I just want to add a little bit of color to my face. I do like this formula. It's not my favorite. It's not my least favorite. It's just a single bronzer. I would consider picking up another one in a different color because I think this is the issue with mine. But I'm just putting that everywhere, trying to give myself a little bit more warmth because this moisturizer was a tad bit light on me. But now that we're bronzing it with a blush, and I'm so excited about this blush, this is one of the Zodiac blushes from Kathleen Lights in the shade My Sun and Stars. The reflect is not, there we go. It's like a peachy gold color. I used this the other day and I used it on my friend, and this is so pretty. It's pretty much the Jelly Mutt that we used in a blush form. So I'm gonna use my favorite Eco Tools blush brush and just stamp this onto the cheeks. The Colourpop blushes I find are pretty pigmented, so I like to go in with a lighter hand because as you can tell, I might have put on a bit too much, but I am going through a blush phase, so I'm okay with looking a little extra rosy. Also, it looks way rosier on camera than it does in real life, but I will take a clean brush and just try to blend that out for a bit. But I do have one of the other Colourpop blushes in the shade Rom-Com, and I do have the same issue where it's like super pigmented. I also have the Colourpop blush in light sticks, and to be honest, I'm not super crazy about them. They definitely are not my favorite cream product. All right, we're still looking pretty rosy, but we'll leave it. So I did pick up a new Super Shock shadow in the shade Monster, which is a pink duochrome. I don't really think it goes with our look, but I'm really excited to use it, so I'm gonna use it anyway. And that's my favorite thing about makeup. It's that I can just pretty much do whatever I want. And if a pink highlighter doesn't go with my look, it doesn't matter. And I'm just gonna use my finger to apply it. I think that's the best way. So I pick some up my finger. I'm just gonna kind of swipe it onto my cheeks. I am gonna build this up a little bit. It's a little bit faint for my liking. But wow, that duochrome is totally coming up on camera. It is really pretty. And I like pink highlighters because they give you that little bit of color without being too out there. So I'm gonna apply it onto my other cheek as well. If you've watched some of my videos, you know that I definitely went through a love-hate relationship with these Super Shock highlighters. It took me a while to really perfect how I applied them. I'm still not the biggest fan of the Super Shock shadows personally, but I do like the highlighters. So I'm gonna make my nose pink as well. We'll do that Cupid's bow. And I think I'm gonna take a small brush and put some under my brow bone as a highlight. But the last thing we have to do today is our lips. And I have a whole bunch of lip products out here in front of me. I have the Ultra Bonded Lip in the shade Doozy. I have the Ultra Satin Lip in Dreamy, which is from Colourpop and the Kathleen Lights collab. I have the lip gloss in Moonchild. I have the Just a Tint in the shade Gimme S'more. I have Aquarius Ultra Satin Lip. I have 0.0 Ultra Satin Lip. And then I have Uno Mas, which was on their cream lips. But I think I'm going to use the Just a Tint because it's the newest formula in my collection. And I think because our cheeks are a little bit out there and a little extra pigmented, I want something not as pigmented on the lips. But I also have a few of the Colourpop lippy pencils. So I think I'm going to go in with the shade Curvy, which is in collaboration with I Love Sarah E. And you can see how short this one is and how gross it is because this is the perfect, like, your lips but better shade for me. It's a nude, but it's not quite nude, so I can definitely get that, like, pouty lip line. And now I'm going to apply the Just a Tint. I did wear it yesterday. It's just a lip crayon. It's super sheer. It's really easy if you need something like throw in your bag and you want a little bit of coverage. And I actually think I'm going to throw a lip gloss on top of this. This does have a kind of like satin glossy finish, but I think I want a gloss to tie everything together. And I am going to use Moonchild, which was in collaboration with Kathleen Lights and Colourpop. And this is one of my favorite glosses. I'm going to 100% finish this one up soon. But that wraps up this full face using Colourpop. So let's do a recap of some of the new products we tried. I can't really give a review on the Papaya Face Milk other than that it smells great. But because it's skincare, I definitely have to use it more times. So I'll probably talk about it in a faves or flop video if I either love it or I hate it or it's just kind of eh. I could definitely see myself getting a bunch of use out of this tinted moisturizer. It's a little bit light, but honestly, it's not that discernible. And I really like the fact that I was able to build it up to its solid medium coverage. Looking at my face, my freckles are definitely still visible, but they're faint. And it covered up most of my redness, which is my main skin concern. I just wish the shade range was a little bit better. The Going Coconuts palette, I had nothing but good expectations for, and it definitely met those expectations. Because I've tried Colourpop shadows in the past, I kind of know what to expect. If you like affordable, pigmented, blendable shadows, I recommend this. I know this is kind of like a boring palette to most people. I totally think it's boring, but I also am well aware that I just have a boring everyday makeup style. This is something that I can throw in my bag, and if I'm like leaving work or I'm late to work, I can just throw this on real quick, like pop one of these shimmers on with my finger and get ready to go. It's honestly the colors that I wear most frequently, and I love the fact that it has a mirror and it's the hard plastic packaging because I feel like it's a little bit more sturdy. The shade names are on the front of the palette and on the back, and I just really like this, but I knew I would like it. I can't really speak to the jelly much yet because it still intimidates the heck out of me. But so far, I like the look that we got. Actually, it looks really pretty on the lower lash line with that eyeliner. But I'm going to have to put it on the lid and give it a few standout moments to see what it's like by itself. I knew I would like this highlighter because I do like the Super Shock highlighter formulas. But this pink reflect is kind of everything. And I am totally going to use the absolute most out of Monster. If you're someone that likes duochrome highlights but you don't want to commit to like a whole highlighting palette like one of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Moonchild or Unicorn or Aurora Glow kits, I highly recommend this because that's pretty much why I bought this. I wanted the Moonchild Glow Kit. I do have Aurora, and to be honest, I use it, but not as frequently as I anticipated using it. And I really wanted Pink Heart out of Moon Child, but I didn't need to buy a full palette for a pink highlighter because I know the other colors really wouldn't work for me. And then the last new product that we tried was the Just a Tint Lip Crayon. I really like it. It's super easy to apply, and it's not something you have to check every so often in the mirror to make sure it's still there because it's super sheer. It is retractable, so it's not like you have to sharpen it, and this also smells decently good. But that wraps up a full face using Colourpop Cosmetics. Let me know what your favorite Colourpop products are down below. If you like this video, I hope you'll consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. I post a new video every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I love if you come join me next time. But that's all for today. Thanks for watching.